Okay, I'm here today with Seb and Owen from Reminding You Why You Love Football. Hello, guys. How are you?
How do? You all right?
I'm very good, very good. Excited to speak to you in your lovely studio there.
I'm pretty good, and I'm glad Seb gave the Somerset hello,
Yeah,
which he
absolutely
does only when
perfect.
he's really happy. So that's good. It's a good start.
Fantastic start. Now, people will be very interested to hear a lot more about your podcast. I'm excited to find stuff out. I have been listening. I'm a fan already, but we're hoping to get some more on board. Owen, could you tell us a little bit about the pod, how it came about? What's your background?
Well, our first foray into audio as Mundial was audio documentary series with Spotify called Giant. But before that, I had come up with or had written down a format that is pretty similar to the one we're doing now. We're doing now for this podcast, but we didn't want our first. At the time, there was a lot of studio shows and a real proliferation of them being launched, and we didn't really. We thought without a partner, we could very easily have done a failed podcast, which happened 6 times, and then we were too busy doing something else. We didn't record it a few times. Done. So that's why we went. We waited and went into the documentary route with Spotify. However, this is something we talked about for a while, and we have enough verticals and sections within the magazine and what we've done on social. So it was always the idea that we would repackage some of them and use them to talk about um, sort of football from all levels and all leagues and all parts of the world, and whether it was grassroots or Champions League or women's or men's or whatever. We've always tried to be democratic about the game, and what we also made sure we wanted to make sure was they'd be relatively timeless, and we didn't talk about the here and now, and sort of steered away from the news cycle because it doesn't need to be done. And that was how we started. We decided on a few different sections to begin with, and we thought we'd review as we go along and base it on some audience feedback as well. So that's a bit of a backstory.
Yeah, fantastic. So, Seb, could you tell us a little bit about some of those segments that you have? Are they ever changing? Do you have ones that come back every episode?
Yeah, I mean, we have changed actually over the course of now. We're nearly up to 30 episodes. We have changed a few different sections. Some have come out. Some have even we've just recorded one now and it's come back in. But they all, like Owen says, they all stem from the magazine or social. Certainly the front section of the magazine. So Adventures in Clubland, which is the one that's become the first one that most people listen to, and the most interesting one, I would argue, is Adventures in Clubland, which is all about looking at different spells in some famous players' careers, but also players that people might not know about, and that's that's the one that's becomes, shall we say, our flagship right at the top. But then we've got underneath that we've spoken about volleys in Vollywood, which is also a section from the magazine. Now at the moment we support these now as well, which has become a thing that Mundial have become known for, as we support something different, and it might be a football team, it might be a clothing brand, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be football related at all. So we've brought that in, and we had that in from the start, but now we've brought it back in again. So it's a constant process of just making sure that we're talking about the right things, we're talking about it in the right way, and actually always comes back to reminding. It genuinely does. We're not just saying it. The title really is an instructive and a massive instruction for us, that we have to remind people why we love football, because if we're talking about some other stuff or certain other things, that won't remind people why they love football, because there's so many different things around the game.
Yeah, and that's not to say we can't talk about serious issues, which we will do, but it's good to have. I think with anything or any brand or any content provider, it's good to have guardrails, and they're self-imposed, and so they can be a little bit loose at times. It's not sort of cast iron and rigid, but it's attempting to try and bring a little bit of, sunshine's the wrong word, but just a bit of humour into people's life on a weekly basis. And the narrative around football is quite negative and quite performance based, and everything is bigger than it needs to be. Sometimes people just have a bad day and don't play very well, or sometimes a manager gets things wrong. But because of the endless need for people to buy into the coverage of it, everything becomes bigger than it is, and often the easiest way to do that is to become negative, right? And it's far more difficult, I think, to be positive and to talk about things you like than just to slag someone or something off. So that's something we always check ourselves about and try and make sure we're doing that.
Fantastic. I think when we wrote about the podcast in one of the most recent issues of Pod Bible, we did talk and touched upon the fact that it is a fantastic sort of dose of nostalgia listening to your podcast. Sorry. And obviously, yeah, as you say, modern day football, there's a lot to navigate. There's a lot of heavy subjects. There's a lot of sort of ignoring bigger topics that you have to do. How important was that to you guys? I know Mundial, as you said, you touch upon a lot of the nostalgic topics and delving back and looking into those kind of things. But how important was it to have that sort of the whole history of football as such, but particularly, your formative years of being fans, to be able to delve back into that? Was it always going to be based around that?
Not necessarily, because we've always tried with the magazine to be, as much as we look back, we look forward, and we talk about the now as well. But it's just not the 1% that dominates the news cycle. That's the big thing, and we just wanted it to be more of that, really. Like we'll talk about something that's going on at non-league, or a lesser-known German team who've been like promoted to the Bundesliga, or something that's coming up in the future. We just steer clear of that the big dominating news, because we're all sick of it as well. Just as like any fan, we get sick of it. But nostalgia is a powerful tool. It's often, I think a lot of people forget why they fell in love with football in the first place, and football's always been tribal, and it should be, and tribalism's fun. But social media tribalism isn't fun. It's fucking miserable, and just leads to people just sitting there arguing with people they've never met about teams they've often never been to see half the time. Yeah, but that's not what football is. That's not what it should be. And so to try and be an antidote to that. We all love it, It's not to say it's all happy clappy. Like, we all get angry about the game as well because we love it. But just to be a little bit of point of difference in a negative space.
Cool. Well, Seb, I'd love to hear a bit more if there are any particular, you touched upon some of the segments you have, but if there are any specific moments, players that you've done deep dives into, clubs, shirts, whatever it may be. Obviously, when I've spoken to football podcasts before for Pod Bible, often it's like, okay, so you preview the weekend's matches, and then the week after you review the weekend's matches, and everybody sort of knows what they're getting. What specifically, will people be hearing when they listen to your show?
Well, exactly. I mean, we often make a joke that we always talk about Diego Maradona. So Diego Maradona will come up pretty much every episode. That is a given.
Perfect.
But, and again, the democracy of everything that we've always done, whether that's in the magazine, newsletter, on social media. We did a piece we did a Adventures in Clubland with Yekini from Nigeria. We might. Even
Rashidi Yekini, owner of the best football nickname ever, the Goals Father.
The Goals Father. And even I,
nice.
I like to think I know a lot of sometimes guff about football, but I know a lot about football. But even I'm learning things and experiencing players' careers and finding things to be excited about and to be happy about. And the story for Yekini that we did for
the reaction.
Yeah, the Adventure in Clubland and the reaction.
I mean, the clip we've put out on that has had thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of views.
It's over 1 million now. Yeah, I think it's
Wow.
It's over 1 million hours.
A million views, definitely.
1 million views, yeah. And that's people getting in, people saying that he's a player who never gets talked about anymore. He died quite young in sort of, but he was like one of the stars of the '94 World Cup, and like he's still Nigeria's record goal scorer. No one talks about him because there's 99% of the game that doesn't get talked about at all levels, and that can be old or new or next, right? And,
yeah, exactly.
And so it's an honour to tell these stories, and it's an honour to then when people commenting on that and a story about a South African player we did going, you've got no idea what this means to us to see media from a different country talking about these people.
Yeah, and the same way that we'll wear shirts from all around the world, and some of the comments will just be you wearing a different, it's great to see you wearing a Mexico shirt or whatever. It's just, again, it's that democracy, and not just in terms of clubs or countries, but also levels. I've spoken about my daughter's football team a lot, because it's something that everyone can most people can relate to. They're all stood on the sidelines on a Saturday. Or it might be one of the coaches, it might be volunteers. And again, I think that's one of the things that we do try and do at the podcast.
Yeah, and two of the most popular things, I've spoken about have been one about a goal I didn't score, but playing on the park with my mates growing up, and then coaching. And it touches a chord with people because that's what people do.
Yeah.
And we're just normal people who love football, and just because we're lucky enough to work in it doesn't mean we're not You know, so it's it's been. But there is that one bloke on Facebook who hates the fact we wear shirts from other countries.
Yeah,
He doesn't like it. He
can't
thinks you
get it.
can't wear German shirts if you're from England.
Very strange.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
that's
not
what
for
happens
us.
on Facebook, I guess. But I'm sure he still listens every week.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know if he does. I don't know if he does now. He got quite a riposte in the comments. But
I'm pleased you mentioned the social media pictures though, because I always notice those, and I enjoy looking at the different shirts that each of you are wearing, and probably should give a shout out to the other members of the team. It's not just you two every week.
no, it's not.
No.
Producer Tommy Stewart and Mundial features editors James Bird. We kicked them out for this interview. One of them could still be lurking outside. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it wouldn't be the same without with the four of us. We've had 2 episodes recently. The first few episodes, there was quite a few of us on, and then we sort of trimmed it down. But recently, I was ill for one, and Tommy hosted. And there was another one before that. Tommy was on holiday, and the 3 of us just did it. But apart from that, now for 90% of the episodes, it's been the 4 of us.
Yeah, it does feel weird when we're not as a 4. You know, one of the things that we've had loads of reviews about the chemistry between us all, and that's how it's like being sat around around a table in a pub with your mates. Now that is arguably one of the best compliments we can get, because that's what we try and do, and it's not heavily scripted, it's not forced. This is just some mates coming together. You know, we've obviously worked with each other in various guises for a long time, but this is genuinely one of the best things that we do every week, just to sit in and talk about football and forget all the other things that are going on. And it's a lot of fun, and hopefully that does come through, because we've seen the reviews and the compliments about it, and it's something.
And it's not just turning up and talking shit about football though, because if last night I was in the script for the episode we recorded this morning at 10:15. And the other 3 were in there as well, and we were all doing different bits. And I say script, the running order, right? We're just putting notes in of the things we're going to talk about, just as cues. So we were all in there last night doing it. And if you didn't love it and didn't want it to be good, then you could just talk. Well, you could just turn up and talk about the weekend's football. But I think because we want it to be good and we want people to love it, I think one thing Mundial's always done. We may have always been a niche brand, but we've always strived to do things people love, whether that's been the magazine, whether that's been Giant, or whether that's been this now, or some of the merch we've done. And it's the only thing what's hard about that is you really have to keep working at it and really put the time in. But that's also a pleasure most of the time, because we do want people to love it. Because Christ, we all know, like albums, kits, players, all those things we've all loved. It means a lot. And if you can give that to someone and then be told back by people that they love it and look forward to it, it's as good as it gets. And that doesn't matter if it's 20 people or 200 or 2,000 or 20,000. It's the fact that every week you're delivering something that people love, and it's a real privilege to be able to do that.
Definitely. And I think, you're definitely providing the kind of conversations that a lot of people are actually having, because none of us are actually meeting in the pub on a Monday and then going through each and every match, because we haven't seen them. You might watch Match of the Day for a bit, but you're having the kind of conversations that I definitely have with my mates fairly regularly. Maybe not as highbrow, maybe not as much knowledge going into them, but
that's all right. Research. We're all here. We're all here to learn.
Exactly. But I mean, we've been big fans of. We love Giant here at Pod Bible, and recommended Giant a number of times in the magazine. And we're big fans of the new pod, and excited to see how things pan out. And I guess the beauty of it is, come the off season, it's not like, oh no, what do we talk about? The whole nature of the format of the show means that you can keep going every single week. And is that the plan?
Yeah, there's no reason to stop, is there?
No. We even, we're looking further ahead to Christmas, and we're making sure that we've got new content coming out, because we enjoy doing it, but also perfect time for people to listen about, random some random niche football stories done at Christmas, when they need a bit of a respite from the festivities. So
we did record 3 episodes in one day in the summer to get round holidays, and that was too much.
Yes,
it was too much. We were knackered by the end of it, and we'll do double records where we need to make sure we're all on it and stuff like that. But no, there's no real reason to stop. We haven't seasoned it. And it's a genuine highlight for us as well.
Amazing.
I like a lot of what I do about my job, but it's the happiest time of the week when I walk into Spiritland on a Friday morning, without a doubt.
Yeah,
perfect.
And hopefully, maybe in the near future, there might be some live events. That's what a lot of podcasts are doing. That's what I was at the Social Distance Sports Bar one the other day. we think we can do something good in that space. Of course, we'll have to learn and take lessons from it. But that's something we got to aim for, because
You can tell people it was Jordan Peterson live, Seb. It's fine.
But Mundial,
You don't have to lie.
Mundial has always been about community, and I think that it would be great to be able to do something like that in front of other people. And I think that's obviously a target.
Yeah,
we have to continue to keep putting the hard. I mean, without to use a football cliche, whatever. We have to keep putting the hard yards in on the training ground, so to speak. But we need to. That's something that we're really aiming for and looking forward to, and I think we can do it really well as well.
Yeah, the interaction with the crowd, people turning up in their football shirts, that would be perfect. So, keep us up to date, because obviously I'll try and get a ticket to that.
Yeah, the exciting thing about it is we might have to be like the Clash in 1976 and go out and play all the little places first. So we might be in rooms above pubs all around the country to start. But I'm quite up for that.
Yeah.
Intimate shows.
Intimate shows. That's where you win the hearts and minds.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll see you in the arenas in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
Wembley. Who knows?
Who knows?
Perfect. What a way to end. All right. Well, thank you very much, Seb and Owen. And obviously, we wish you all the best with the pod. We'll continue to champion it. But hopefully, a lot of new people will check it out after this. And good luck.
Brilliant.
Thanks
Thanks,
very
Adam.
much.
Take care.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.